Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. What if the person you loved betrayed you and instead of walking away, you decided to destroy them with the most shocking move imaginable? So here's what went down. Will fell hard for Electra. She was magnetic, unpredictable, the kind of woman who made every room feel electric. But that excitement, it turned out to be a carefully crafted illusion. Behind the passion and promises, Electra had been manipulating him the entire time. When the truth finally surfaced, Will didn't just feel heartbroken, he felt humiliated, and that humiliation slowly transformed into something darker. Instead of confronting her head on, Will created a plan so outrageous it would shake their entire social circle. He would marry his best friend Dylan, not out of love, but as the ultimate revenge. What started as a broken heart spiraled into a fake engagement, a social media frenzy, and a wedding designed to emotionally devastate Electra. And just when things couldn't get more explosive, Electra found out, and she was furious. Let's break this down because the emotional layers here are wild. In the beginning, Will genuinely believed in what he had with Electra. He remembered the late nights, the whispered promises in dimly lit rooms, the laughter that felt so real at the time. He had invested time, emotion, loyalty, everything. So, when he realized that she had been playing him, that those intimate moments might have been calculated, it shattered something deep inside him. It wasn't just about being cheated on or lied to, it was about feeling like a fool. And pride, especially wounded pride, can be incredibly dangerous. At first, revenge wasn't loud, it was subtle, a quiet thought in the back of his mind. But the more he replayed the memories, the more that whisper turned into a roar. He didn't just want to move on, he wanted Electra to feel the same gut punch he had felt. Now enter Dylan. Sweet, gentle, loyal Dylan. The complete opposite of Will's current emotional storm. Dylan had always been the steady presence in his life. When Will was spiraling, Dylan was there with a calm voice and a listening ear. But here's the twist. Dylan had no clue what was brewing inside Will's mind, and that's where things take a sharp turn. Will had noticed something. Small glances between Dylan and Electra, casual touches that lingered a second too long. Subtle energy shifts in a room. Maybe it meant nothing. Maybe it meant everything. But in Will's wounded state, it was enough to spark an idea. A dangerous idea. What if he used Dylan as part of his master plan? What if he flipped the entire narrative and created a spectacle so dramatic that Electra would never recover from it? Picture this, a dim office, late at night, Will holding his phone, staring at Dylan's name on the screen, every ring echoing in his chest like a countdown. When Dylan answered, he was cheerful, completely unaware. Will kept his voice steady, casual, calm. We need to talk. But behind that calm tone was a calculated storm. They met at a quiet cafe tucked away in Los Angeles, the kind of place where secrets feel safe. Dylan laughed, relaxed, assuming this was just another heart to heart. But then Will dropped the bomb. He leaned in and said he would marry him, just like that. No build up, no warning. Dylan was stunned, confused. Marry me? He thought it had to be a joke, but Will wasn't smiling. He was dead serious. He explained it wasn't about love, at least not right now. It was about loyalty, about sending a message, about making Electra understand that she couldn't manipulate people without consequences. And here's the complicated part. Dylan hesitated because morally this was messy, risky, maybe even wrong, but there was also something intoxicating about it. A life that had always been calm suddenly offered chaos, adventure, intensity. He questioned Wheel, asking if this was really what he wanted, and Wheel, eyes dark with resolve, said he had never been more certain. Meanwhile, Electra was completely unaware. She was busy organizing events at Spencer Publications, obsessing over guest lists and outfits, floating in her curated world. She had no idea that the emotional ground beneath her was about to collapse. Will and Dylan moved quickly. Invitations went out. Venues were booked. Hints were dropped strategically to the public. It hooked like a whirlwind romance. Social circles buzzed. Gossip columns exploded. Even familiar names like Ridge and Brooke found themselves caught in the chatter. Everyone wanted to know, how did this happen so fast? Was it real? And what would Electra do? Taylor Hayes sensed something was off. She noticed the subtle smiles between Will and Dylan, the intensity, the shift in Will's demeanor. When she confronted him, he admitted he had been hurt deeply and was finally taking control. But he didn't reveal the full truth. The plan had to remain airtight. Then the inevitable happened. Electra found out, and she did not take it quietly. She confronted Wheel at the Spencer mansion. Shaking with anger, she accused him of doing it purely to hurt her. And Wheel, calm and almost disturbingly composed, told her it wasn't about her, it was about reclaiming his power. But let's be honest, it was absolutely about her too. As the wedding day approached, things got even more complicated. What started as a revenge arrangement began to blur. Will and Dylan shared genuine laughs, real conversations, moments of unexpected comfort. The line between fake and real started to fade. Dylan began to see that beneath the revenge, Will was trying to rebuild his dignity. Electra, however, wasn't backing down. Fueled by jealousy and rage, she plotted her own counterattack. She tried to sabotage the event, to humiliate them, to regain control. But every attempt only seemed to strengthen the bond between Will and Dylan. And then came the wedding morning. The Forester Gardens transformed into a breathtaking scene. White and blush flowers everywhere, elegance dripping from every detail. Guests arrived buzzing with anticipation. Drama hung in the air like perfume. Will stood at the altar, calm on the outside, but churning internally. And as Dylan walked toward him, something shifted. It wasn't just revenge anymore. There was admiration in Will's eyes, maybe even something real. Now let's talk about the fallout. Because this isn't just a petty revenge story. This is about emotional power plays. Will's decision sent shock waves through his social world. It forced everyone to pick sides, to question motives, to reassess what they thought they knew. For Electra, the impact was devastating. She went from being the one in control to being blindsided. The narrative flipped overnight. Instead of pulling the strings, she was reacting. And that loss of control, that's often more painful than heartbreak itself. For Dylan, the consequences were internal. He stepped into something morally complicated and emotionally unpredictable. He risked his reputation, his stability, and maybe even his own heart. And for Will, the biggest consequence might be this. When you build something on revenge, you can't fully control how it evolves. What if real feelings develop? What if the plan changes him more than it changes Electra? Revenge feels powerful in the moment, but it's rarely clean. Honestly, I think Will's move was bold but dangerously reckless. I get it, I truly do. When someone humiliates you, you want them to feel the same pain. You want balance restored. But using marriage, using another human being as a weapon, that's playing with emotional fire. At the same time, there's something fascinating about watching someone reclaiming their narrative. Will refused to stay the victim. He flipped the script. The problem is, revenge can blur into self destruction if you are not careful. And here is what really intrigues me, the chemistry that started forming between Will and Dylan. Sometimes the most unexpected relationships grow out of the messiest beginnings. Could revenge accidentally create something genuine? That's the twist no one saw coming. So now, I want to hear from you. Was Will justified in his revenge? Or did he cross a line by pulling Dylan into it? Do you think Electra deserved the shock? Or is this going to backfire in the most dramatic way possible? And here's the big question. If you were Dylan, would you have said yes? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I know this one is going to spark debate. If you love deep dives into dramatic twists like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Trust me, you are going to want to see how this plays out.